I'm Vikram Biswanath from the Mauritius Research and Innovation Council. I've been into the space sector since 2021 when Mauritius first launched its first nanosatellite, thanks to the JAXA UNUSA Cube Award. And from then, we are sort of actively developing a roadmap to see how space and satellite technology can help us to progress in space. Thank you.
Okay, if we could hear from Miss Eunice Wangoe Mwangi, that's a Kenyan name. So,
Sure. Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me to this wonderful conference where we intend to explore how we can strengthen space technologies to address African challenges. My name is Eunice Wangui. I'm a geoinformation scientist by profession. However, currently I'm serving as the Water and Landscape Restoration Associate at the World Resources Institute, Africa. I'm based here in Kenya, and my role is really to see how we can be able to advance our research from just the traditional research to impactful research that is going to transform the lives of Africans through leveraging Earth observation technologies and seeing how we can be able to ensure that water accessibility, water quality are aspects that can be measured and monitored using Earth observation systems, and how this information can be able to trigger development, to trigger change in practices. So I'm very happy to be part of this, to see how we can be able to advance the use of space technologies to address these issues. I have 15 years experience in utilization of space technologies in the African continent, where I've led development of information services for agriculture risk assessment, water risk assessment, land degradation monitoring, and I'm quite happy to be joining this panel discussion. Thank you so much. I look forward to a great session.
All right, so Nika is back. I'm not sure if your camera
Yes,
is on.
I'm back.
We're not seeing you, so your camera might have died.
Oh
Just so
dear.
that, just
Along the way.
go ahead
I'm
and
so sorry.
start. But your camera,
Okay.
you might have a dead camera, so go ahead and start.
Camera, yeah. So sorry about that. Okay then. So good morning, good afternoon
please introduce
to
yourself.
all of you all.
Yes, please introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm just about to do that.
Yes, thank you.
Right. Okay. So my name is Nike Koka Babalola. I'll be the moderator for this session, and I'll be joined a little bit from my experience having worked at NIGCOMSAT, Nigerian Communication Satellite, for over 15 years. And now presently I work at Nigeria's National Agricultural Development Fund. So I'd like I'd like to also acknowledge those that are on site, as well as those who are online. The panelists for this session are Eunice. I think Eunice was speaking just before I was, from the World Resources Institute, joining virtually. Also, Aristides Muhate from the National Fund for Sustainable Development in Maputo. I'm not sure if he's online just yet. On site, if I'm correct, we have Dr. Okoli Peters from Nigeria's Bank of Agriculture, and Dr. Bisanoff, who I heard speaking just as I walked in the very first time, from the Mauritius Research and Innovation Council. Thank you all for joining us. I really do apologize about the camera. I think I'll just try setting up another device so that you all can see me. But we'll start first with some questions based on the topic itself. I'll start with you, Dr. Bisanoth. I know you were talking just before my own session started, but we would like you to speak on the space technologies that have the most immediate potential to address some of our food and climate challenges here in Africa.
Hi, thank you, Nick. I think already we have Earth observation satellite data, which could provide a first hands-on overview I hear Eunice, you have quite some experience in that, and Nick also. So this is my opinion is that there are so many satellites available now, and also many platforms easily available. So this could be used to see to analyze the evolution of, for example, agriculture in Africa over the years, and then eventually with some more data analytics, do some projections.
Okay, thank you so much. And Eunice, if you can hear us, we'd like you to please give us an idea on how we can make space data more accessible for our smallholder farmers and rural communities, because that is a big challenge, getting that data to them, getting the information to them, getting internet connectivity to them. So if you'd like to speak on that, please, Eunice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And indeed, I've worked with farmers trying to develop applications, Earth observation application. And one gap that I think we still need to figure out as scientists is how we can be able to build the capacity of our farmers to be able to interpret and understand Earth observation data. And they don't need to understand it from the perspective of a satellite. Is it a sentinel? Is it MODIS? They want to understand the solution that is coming from this Earth observation data. So what we need to do, especially as scientists, because for a long time we've been talking to each other, but we have failed to really communicate effectively to farmers especially. And what we need to do is to translate our hard jargon scientific data into meaningful, applicable solutions that a farmer can understand. And this includes building their capacity, training them. What does it mean when we talk about the trends in rainfall? You know, we don't need to talk about the instrument, we need to talk about the solution. You know, how will this Earth observation be able to increase the yield in crop production? How are we going to use this satellite data to address pest infestation, poor quality of soil, low yield? So that's the kind of communication we need to fine tune so that we can be able to bring ourselves to the level of farmers and also perceive these farmers not just as an end user where we are just pushing technology over to them, but we need to look at them also as investors. You know, we need to look at a farmer as someone who is an investor in the Earth observation field. And when we perceive them that way, then we understand that they are also coming in as a stakeholder who needs to see how their resources are being used and how they can contribute meaningfully to development of the agriculture sector. The other area really is to co-design Earth observation solutions. By co-design, what we mean is that, again, not a pushing of this Earth observation technology to them, rather understanding what challenge are they actually experiencing in the field, you know, because they understand the farm better than all of us. So we need to be able to co-design this solution to identify what are the immediate risks the agriculture sector is facing or the farmer is facing in terms of trying to monitor crop, trying to deal with post-harvest loss. And thereby the solutions that are coming from the satellite data should really be fine-tuned and have the voice of the farmer at hand. So those are just some of the immediate action that we can take, especially as scientists, to just put ourselves in the position of the farmer and look at ourselves as also a stakeholder, as an investor, not just as a user who does not have resources, rather as an investor, because they are also coming in as investors, and try to see how we can customize Earth observation solutions. And once we do that, we are going to package this Earth observation technology to just an application that can come in as an SMS to a farmer, Probably it's something related to disaster risk, So these are just solutions that can be able to come to the farmer as just an SMS or a simple mobile application that they can be able to interpret how their farm is operating and what action they need to take in terms of the inputs, if it's seeds, if it's fertilizer. We need to see how we can be able to just communicate in the simplest way to the farmer using simple technologies, using local languages. We have stations, radio stations that use local languages at the farm level that are really appreciated. So we can leverage on those platforms to be able to communicate about Earth observation solutions, not just the technology part, but the solutions that a farmer can be able to embrace. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you, Eunice, for that response. I like the fact that you're harping on the farmer as an investor and as a stakeholder. It's very important, and breaking the information down to them in ways that is easy for them to understand and to apply. Having said that, the government plays a huge role in making sure that the farmer is not only accessible, but the data is also accessible to him. I know we have Dr. Owuli Peters from the Bank of Agriculture, which is a government establishment here in Nigeria. Sir, if you can hear us, if you can speak on how governments in Africa generally can better integrate space tech into agricultural strategies and even climate strategies. Thank you, sir.
I am not sure that he is on.
Oh, okay. I thought he was no. On site.
No, I'm not seeing anybody on site from the office.
Okay. And Miss Aristide, also not online?
No, Aristide is not here either.
Okay, no problem then. No problem.
Okay.
Dr. Visamoth, I'll come back to you then. Speaking on your work with research and all, how do you think African universities are currently doing when it comes to space tech and research, especially in agricultural development? What are your thoughts, sir?
Well, I do not know many of the African universities, but I know that some of the universities in South Africa are doing very well in space research, the Stellenbosch University, for example. And I think we in Africa, we are almost there. With the new Space Africa conglomeration, I think it will only boost us. But and maybe if I can say one or two words, adding on what Eunice just said, in terms of farmers' involvement. I think, in my opinion, the farmers have so much experience. They are hands-on in the field, and it would be an excellent mix if we could merge the new technologies with their experience and sort of make them own the new data, their experience merged with the satellite technologies. That could also be another point that we could consider. And then thirdly, in terms of what you said, Nick, government collaboration. I think government has a major role to play. For example, in my country, government needs to take cognizance or to realize that space and satellite technologies are becoming more and more essential for as a help for policy making. So it's both ways, trying to sort of demystify this space satellite data and how it is used. And then this is one for government, but also for our generation, our users. We in Mauritius, we target school children. So that could be one of the strategies to be considered. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Eunice, back to you. So what barriers do you think are stopping academic research? Because I know with my work in Magicomstat, we go to different colleges of education and institutes of research for agriculture. And some of the challenges that they face there at these institutes and universities is that they have the innovations, they have the technology, but it's a challenge to make it scalable. It's a challenge to go to market, so to speak. So what barriers, what's stopping research from going into the market and doing what it's meant to do for agriculture?
Thank you so much. Luckily, I'm happy. I'm also speaking from someone who has attended African universities. I have attended universities here in Kenya, and I have gone ahead also to support as a lecturer, as a lecturer in the public universities, interacting with students from the perspective of a lecturer. And also, I have also joined the mainstream industry now as an expert who is able to apply this technology and see how we can be able to strengthen university involvement in Earth observation in satellite research. And one of the barriers that has always been there has been funding constraint. Whereby in as much as local universities in Africa are doing a lot of research, there has been a consistent lack of funds to be able to bring the research ideas to a level of maturity where they can actually address and be used as technologies that are solving issues related to agriculture development. So you realize that funding, number one, it's funding. Funding is a main constraint, whereby the students themselves, the research team, the postgraduate students do not have sufficient funding to be able to do comprehensive research that can be able to inform industry and also address development challenges. So that is the number one issue, funding. Then besides funding, even where funding is guaranteed, because if you ask me about funding in so many instances has been addressed by having a partnership, collaboration, or on existing programs, whereby we are beginning to see development programs working with universities to expand research and to be able to provide solution for society. And I can just mention an example where we could have probably heard of GMS, Global Monitoring of Environment for Security in Africa. This has been a continental initiative that has made a deliberate effort to work with local universities to expand research, not to leave them behind, to just make sure that they are being consulted, that their research tools and ideas are being taken into consideration as far as shaping the food security landscape is concerned. So that is just one solution that can able to address the funding gap. But besides that, another key barrier that academic research is facing is siloed institutional cultures that have discouraged interdisciplinary work. What do I mean with this? I'm saying that traditionally or culturally, you find that most uh, universities, African universities, have just been doing siloed research, whereby they're just culturally, they're just doing a research to publish, to publish in a journal, and this is later just put in an archive somewhere without a link to the industry. So that is again another challenge, whereby the culture of the academic, the university, is just to do research for purposes, of passing your exams, for purposes of publishing in a journal, and that is the end. Not to address a development challenge that is facing the country and to identify how we can be able to scale. So that is again another issue that can be attributed to the culture. What is the culture of these universities? So that is really another challenge that is within the academic research and how this can be scaled. Then the other key issue is a lack of linkage between academia, industry, and government. There is a gap whereby you find that the good research that the universities are doing is not tied to the industry. Because today I will ask, I will ask the experts in the room, how many institutions are currently working with universities to customize and develop solutions and make sure that the papers that are being published out of research actually inform the industry practices? You'll realize it's very few. So that is another challenge that is growing, where there is just a disconnect between the academic research, industry, and also government. However, just an opportunity, not to just say that it's all gloom, but we have been seeing that increasingly, we are seeing that there's a collaboration where some industries, especially with the Copernicus program, which I have really been part of, the European Space Agency, the EO for Africa, they have provided avenues, the Dunia. I hope you can be able to just get someone to talk about the Dunia platform, whereby they are encouraging research and also incubation hubs, innovation hubs within learning institutions to be able to test and present these tools. So an opportunity that can be able to address that is with such ongoing programs that are being promoted by the Copernicus Earth Observation System, to organize hackathons. It has been done. I've seen it being organized here in Kenya, whereby we were able to organize a hackathon. A hackathon is very interesting for young people to see how they can be able to test and use Earth observation systems to address solution, thereby creating awareness and also trying to link the industry to the universities. So those are just some of the opportunities that are there to address the limitation that we are seeing with that disconnect, where the government, the industry, and the university is disconnected. So we can be able to organize those incubation hubs, which is already beginning to take shape, especially in the Eastern African countries. I'm seeing a lot of that. And also to organize competitions related to space technology, and these solutions can be able to be applied by the industry and by the government to influence the policies related to Earth observation and also to agriculture development. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you, Eunice. You've delved into how these partnerships can be strengthened between industry and the universities. Dr. Bissonoth, would you like to add to how we can strengthen these linkages?
What Eunice is saying, but then what we could also think of, given that space is a multi-billion-dollar business, the private sector could be more and more interested. So maybe we could develop joint research programs between university and private sector, which are driven by the private sector, and tap into these funds for research for the private sector. That could be an option. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Bissonoth, we'll still go back to you to ask some questions surrounding data infrastructure. Yeah. What are the risks that you think are associated with it, and how can we mitigate it?
Sorry, I lost you a little bit. So the risks associated with?
The risk associated with data infrastructure.
Well, the risk of which is related is, for example, where their mines are located, etc. So how do we mitigate it? Well, mostly I'm not an AI expert, but highly sophisticated cybersecurity options that are available. So this is my opinion.
Your opinion. Yes, because I know right now in Nigeria, data protection is a really big issue. When
information of data subjects are collated and end up being leaked and end up in the wrong hands. We all know how much of a challenge that is. So when it comes to agriculture, our farmers, you want to say something?
No, I mean, there is always mitigation measures. If you are dealing with personal data, then mitigation measures such as anonymization of the data that could help. And also those who are providing data, they should know, they should be able to be aware of where their data, their personal data is going, and they should have the right to disclaim or not. So these are the general principles of the GDPR data policy. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Eunice, do you know of any student-led innovations that are happening on the continent right now?
Actually, before even we get to the student-led innovation, let me just at least expound a bit on the data infrastructure, because a challenge that I have actually witnessed is the high cost of the infrastructure itself. Let's be honest, how many African institutions today have the capacity of setting up high-tech infrastructure that can be able to host this data? Very few, very few. So I think when we talk about this data infrastructure, for sure, the investment capital and the operational cost is very high for most institutions, and that's why we are seeing a lot of leveraging of the cloud computing infrastructures. We are seeing a lot of which is, of course, you will get to pay, but it's not as expensive as having to invest in that infrastructure as a single institution. So I think also that's a challenge that we really need to see. However, the solution really is to also see how we can be able, as African institutions, to have our own cloud computing solutions, cloud computing infrastructures. Of course, we still are relying a lot on the Amazons, which are doing a good job, on the Google Earth Engine facilities. But again, we want to see our young professionals trying to design and come up with local cloud computing facilities that can be a hub for other African institutions. So I think that is one area. Now, coming back to the question that you have asked, please restructure it again. Please repeat.
Oh, sure, no problem. I was asking if you're aware of any student-led innovations on the continent. You've already spoke on the cloud computing solutions. I'll keep my question based on that, but I just want to know what your thoughts are, and if, based on your experience, you've come across any student-led efforts.
Yes. Thank you again for that. And I can talk about incubation programs, and also the hackathons. It happens a lot, especially in Kenya, where we have universities like Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, and also from Kenyatta University, whereby they have organized incubation hubs. And an incubation hub essentially means having the geospatial resources, and also designing and developing tools and programs that are addressing a need in society. And this has required a partnership. And that's why I want to acknowledge, continental programs like the GMS program that have been very intentional about working with young people. And there's also another collaboration that is coming with GLDN. GLDN is a group on Earth observation, land degradation neutrality program that also has been very intentional about working with young people. And during their visit to Kenya last year, they were able to visit, some local universities and see how we can already begin to design an incubation program, whereby the university already invests in the physical infrastructure. Then with this program that are mainly promoting the usage of Earth observation technology, they can co-design and co-develop solutions that are addressing land degradation neutrality. So that is just one area that I have seen a success in how we can be able to advance student-led innovation. We know that with students also, they are having this, they are like clubs, you know, like clubs, GIS clubs within the universities. So that has been a very good entry point to be able to execute the incubation programs and also the hackathons. I've talked about the hackathons, the map competitions. So these have really been some of the innovative ways of engaging young people that some of these global programs like the GLDN has continued to use to be able to raise awareness and also to build the capacity of the university and the students to be able to share out their skills. And besides that, there's also seed funding. You know, funding is very critical. And with funding, I've seen again within the GeoLDN flagship program that is going on, especially in Ghana. It's being implemented in Ghana. And we've seen a financing of masters and PhD students to do their research related to land degradation neutrality. That is again another opportunity where young people have been encouraged to be able to tap into these funding opportunities within these collaborative industry and university programs to pursue their PhD, to pursue their master's program, but also seek to use the Earth observation data that is being provided by the European Space Agency, by the NASA satellites, and see how we can be able to test and come up with solutions from this open data that can be able to inform policy decision and also restoration strategies. Again, as far as student-led innovations is concerned, we have a mentorship programs. Mentorship programs don't need to be complicated. Mentorship programs just mean having an avenue to be able to discuss and mainstream Earth observation technologies in the curriculum, whereby I've seen, again, being here in Kenya, I've seen that happening a lot, whereby the lecturers themselves are trained to be able to see how they can be able to mentor young scientists to be able to use Earth observation systems. And this has also led to a collaboration that has been ongoing throughout the continent with ESRI. ESRI has been partnering with universities to be able to customize and come up with solutions that are addressing these particular agriculture challenges using Earth observation technology. So those are just some of the student-led innovation that we can't entirely leave them to the student part, but as industry players, we need to see how that connection can be able to work and pan out through co-designing, co-developing, and linking them to ongoing programs within the continent. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Eunice. Earlier in your response, you had talked about cloud computing solutions. And I have personally been in workshops and different events where there's a call for a truly African cloud computing system. I'm looking forward to the day where we don't have to depend on Dropbox and Google Drive. How soon are we going to be able to realize this? Any idea?
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think my solution and my take is that we need to believe in our own scientists. We need to believe in our upcoming African scientists, the young scientists who are locked up within university. Because sometimes if you sit in a lecture, when they are presenting their project, you can see a lot of innovation and creativity, but sometimes we don't like talking so much about that. And sorry to say, sometimes even the media industries pays so much to the negative side of Africa, and the political challenges we are having, to the war that is happening in most parts of Africa. But it's time that we need to spotlight, that we need to bring the young innovators out there and we shout about them, the startups. I can tell you of so many startups that have never seen the light of day because, we don't want to shout about it. We are like, no. I mean, it still needs a lot of work to be done. But I just think that we need to give them a platform. We need to speak about them. When we are talking about Gen Zs, we also want to see the Gen Zs who are doing very great, meaningful application of science, who are designing, cloud computing facilities, because they are there. They are there for sure. We just don't spotlight them enough. So I just think we are just at that stage where we need to create a platform for young people and show that we actually have scientists, we have innovators in Africa. I've seen them present, in conferences here and there, and we bring them out and we showcase that these are the people who are shaping the next generation of Earth observation in Africa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eunice. I'll
Thank
go
you, Eunice.
to Dr.
I'll go
Bisanath
to Dr.
now.
Bisanath now.
Sir, do you think that university research can truly influence public policy? I mean, it's one thing to come up with a white paper, a policy brief, a suggestion, an advisory to the government, but how are we going to get the federal government to pay attention to climate and pay attention to agriculture?
Right. I think it is all it all boils down to the type of person you have at the head of the ministry or the government. Sometimes they and it's a people's thing. Sometimes you might do very good research, as Eunice was mentioning, but there are numerous barriers, and one of them often is our own government, which do not believe in our own talent. They would prefer to hire an international expert to do some jobs here while we have our own local experts. So I think this is we need to be lucky enough to have people at the head of our ministries, our government, that believe in us, that they have come from a scientific background, for example. They have done their research and have met different challenges. And when they are in the seat of the decision maker, then they might better understand us. So again, this is in the positive case where you have your leader, political leader, who is listening to you, and that could be a great collaboration. But then if you have the you're unfortunate to fall on the other side who believe in international experts, then maybe one way is you as the local expert, you would work with the international expert and try to tell your ideas through the international expert. At least things are getting forward. So these are my two suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Could you also speak on the kind of partnership
Thank you, sir.
mechanisms or
Could you
funding
also speak on the kind
mechanisms
of
that people
partnership
can go
mechanisms or
into
funding mechanisms that people
to
can go into
access
to access
support for?
support
Because
for?
I know
Because
there
I
are
know there are
academics
academics
that are
that are
online,
online,
and
and
I'm sure they would love to draw from your wealth of experience on.
I just lost you, but to my understanding, your question was about what type of facilities which government could offer to facilitate research, right? I'll tell you from the Mauritius
You could
Research and
unmute.
Innovation Council.
If you could
Yeah,
unmute,
Okay.
if you could one,
Okay,
because
sorry
two of
about
them
that.
are
Yeah.
muted. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay, thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
okay, yeah. So one our institution, the Mauritius Research and Innovation Council, we benefit from part of taxpayers' funds, and we design research and innovation grant schemes with themes that are relevant to the country. For example, we we are looking for projects that can help us in sustainable and agriculture, and we design research and innovation grant schemes calling for these types of research. So it's targeted research grant schemes that we could develop using public funds. Again, the in Mauritius, the infrastructure is like this. We, as the Mauritius Research and Innovation Council, we are an apex body which can decide on investment on research and development. But I don't know in other countries if it is the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to go to one of the chats from our host at the Cosmopolitan University. The comment says that African cloud computing facilities, Cosmopolitan University is setting up a supercomputer cluster and developing and hosting data cube for satellite data. So it's good to know that cloud computing uh, is alive and well in Cosmopolitan University. He also says we're developing high storage capabilities, low cost, massive storage facilities, petabytes of data at a low cost. So Africa innovation needs to support local high data needs, which is amazing. Thank you so much, sir, for that's from Professor Carl Adams. Thank you, sir, for adding to that conversation. So Eunice, I don't know if you would like to speak on accessing funding. Like I said, we have researchers online who would like to know, what's the right step when it comes to, okay, I have this idea and I would like to approach a development partner for funding for support. Doesn't always have to be the government supporting. How do I? Any ideas on how these funding avenues can be accessed?
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for that. And indeed, let me also acknowledge my employer currently, the World Resources Institute, where I'm currently working, that has also devised a very unique approach to building the capacity of local communities. And within a WRI, we have what is called a Terra Fund, Terra Fund. I know it is within Africa, it's still in selected countries where we are trying to restore degraded land ecosystems using working with local communities where it's actually native local communities organized, of course, in forms of an NGO or a CBO or a private company, startups are being financed to be able to scale and nurture and incubate the ideas. So that is just one approach that I have found very unique, whereby now more than ever, development agencies are realizing the need of working directly with the community to be able to shape the land restoration services. And it's so interesting because most of these activities we're talking about are actually like just tree planting, whereby we bring young people together to plant trees in degraded ecosystems. So that is just one avenue. So what I can advise young people is to be on the lookout, be on the lookout, make sure you are in spaces that matter. An avenue like this Ungana conference, this is a very good networking platform where you get to talk to experts, you get to share your ideas, you get to market your brand, to be honest. Young people can also get the opportunity to market themselves and show the skills they possess and how they can be able to tap into some of those financing opportunities that are out there, and how they can also be able to collaborate. So that's what I can say about that limitation of funding, and to just show that right now the financing options are many. I've seen so many other funding opportunities. There's another one called TEA Fund from the UK. We have, we have the Bill and Melinda Gates. I've seen a lot of those that are just being put out there, that young people can come together. You have to come together, you have to collaborate. You have to collaborate in form of a registered, and go ahead and register your startup, your organization, and begin doing something. It won't start with funding. Let's be honest. You won't just get fund maybe to start up, but you need to also just use your own local resources to scale up a bit. Then you can be able to get funding along the way now to scale up. So those are the opportunities that I have seen actually working with young people, whereby don't just wait on the mainstream like I'm waiting to be financed by government. It might not work. Look out for these other opportunities and register yourself. Work in a very organized way where you are actually registered and you've started doing some innovative activities like soil restoration. You're already doing some activities like tree planting, farmer education. We have to rely on ourselves, on our young Africans to do that. Then they can be able to get seed capital as they go by. So those are some of the avenues, Nike, that can be explored and advanced. Thank you.
All right.
Good. I'd like to appreciate the both of you so far for answering all my questions.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a couple questions here.
Yes.
One
I
is
was
for
just
the
about to ask a
moderator.
question. Okay.
If I could, yes, and one is on the Africa Fund, but let me ask the other one first, then you can answer that question and close out at the same time. So, Mr. Bissanoff, we have a question for you about the private sector. To expand upon the points focused on university private sector company. If you could answer this question, I think you're typing it, or you're typing it already.
No. I can write. I can
Okay. Go ahead.
answer.
And then the other question is, looking at the global space economy, what solutions happening on the continent can influence technical and social advancement external to the continent? In other words, let us reverse the question and not assume that everything, we need everything. What can Africa offer the world that's already happening? Because we know, first of all, that Africa was first to market with mobile money. It's just something that is happening that can actually be offered to the world. Thank you.
Okay, I'll answer the first question. In terms of
the first question is for you, but the other one is for everybody on panel. And then we wrap up because the speakers are here for the next one. Thank you.
All right. So the first question is, I think there needs to be dialogue with the private sector. University needs to ask private sector what type of research and innovation is meaningful for them, or university with their own research expertise can go and propose research avenues to the private sector, and they could do some collaborative work together with government. At the MRIC, we have a collaborative research and innovation grant scheme whereby government chips in some money, but the research is driven by the private sector in collaboration with academia. So this is one of the ways. So I'll leave the floor to the others for the second question.
Thank you. The second question is, anybody want to tackle that one? Based on the global community, what can Africa basically offer based on what's happening here that's ahead of the curve? Is there something that Africa can offer that's ahead of the curve?
Maybe let me answer that.
Yes.
Thank you so much. What Africa has to offer is innovation, and innovation meaning we understand the local challenges, so we can be able to innovate these ideas. And besides just having a prototype of an innovation idea, we need to have the incubation. So the incubation is what is missing, but this is what we need to invest in, whereby the innovations that are happening in Africa can be incubated so that they can become actually solutions that are addressing the development challenges. So yes, indeed, we have the innovation using Earth observation data that young promising Africans can be able to offer. What we need to invest in is the incubation avenues. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dr. Bisanath? And then the
Yes,
last
so
question I have for Nikki.
yeah, what I think we could leverage on is our uniqueness, and our uniqueness is our culture. So how we could use our culture, leverage on our cultural heritage, our cultural richness, merge it with satellite space technology, and provide innovative solutions to be sold to the world. For example, taking the example of the farmers, our African farmers, they have their own knowledge, indigenous knowledge in terms of farming, doing agriculture in specific way, analyzing by observation the sky, etc. Can we find a perfect match with traditional knowledge and the new knowledge, and merge it? This is my opinion. Thank you.
And one question to Nike before we close out. Nike Coker Babalola, how can African women fund support the agriculture sector with research financing?
Okay, how can African women?
Yes, how can African women fund support space-related research with agriculture?
Okay, so yeah, how can African women get support? So in terms of where I work at the fund, if I'm getting the question correctly, how women can access support?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's the question. Yes, that's the question.
okay, so all right, yeah, so we have apart from the fact that the smallholder farmers are king at the Africa Agricultural Development Fund, we also have inclusive programs specifically tailored for women and for the youth. So we work with women cooperatives. There's one that we're working with at the moment called Women in Mechanized Agriculture. We're working with them, and we're also working on some training programs with them, just to be sure that we're bridging that gap between, women groups and other general farmer groups. So yes, there are farmer cooperatives, but we're actually also targeting the women. So the NADF is also working specifically to make sure that women also have a seat at the table in terms of access to funding and bridging that funding gap. Thank you.
Well, thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nike, for your able and apt moderation. And thank you also, Dr. Bisanoff and Eunice Wangu-Mwangi, for sharing your information. We know that food security is critical. Certainly those of us that live in the West are not interested in seeing any more distended bellies and hungry children with matter in their eye begging for money from Africa. So we want to see as much money put into base research as possible. And I do agree that we need to really build on the traditional knowledge and stop pretending as if farmers have been doing nothing until we came with our satellites. So thank you again. And we're going to move now to our next panel. Give them a hand, please, everybody in the audience here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We're moving right along, and our next panel. Our next panel is I think 3 of the people are here. Angie Bakaban and Timothy Ashong. And I believe also Ernest is here. I saw him. I'm not sure if Ernest, if your camera is working today. Hopefully it is. And I think you are going to be the moderator. Fabulous. But she needs a Zoom thing. She needs to come here. This camera moved. No, because I'm doing it. I can't use my. Where's the other? Where's Dwight? Where's Dwight's phone? Okay, we're gonna try and get this thing. Yeah, ask him for it. Where's Ernest? He's there. He's just not, he's already in the room.
Hi. Yes, I'm online. Not that the camera is not working, but then
He's
we
already
just
there.
doing some field work outside, and so
He's here.
I'll be on the call, but then the camera will be
Oh,
another.
so your camera is also off. Okay. All right, fabulous. And Ernest, I'm seeing that your camera is off, but I'm seeing that you are unmuted. Ernest. I'm not seeing Ernest. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Is that, oh, they're not ready yet?